hot dog.
Soon, all of these guys are going to be gone. The cameras will be gone. You guys will still be here. Brunswick will still be here. How will it change?
Lifted every voice without straining his back.
But we love having them here. I love having them.
The perfect recipe for a nice life.
Happy birthday, my daddy.
This my palace. Yeah, this one palace for the time being.
I was hoping to have the memories here with them, but we'll see.
I never thought it would play out the way that it did.
This is a dark day in Jacksonville's history.
A gunman shot and killed 3 people in what police are calling a racially motivated shooting.
Like me.
It was redder than red, and it was real thick.
911, where's your emergency?
The cargo ship just flipped over in the channel.
Nearly 100 homes in Glynn County are still evacuated.
They didn't give us any information.
Profit and destroy.
Marshes, beaches, and live oaks cover Glynn County, Georgia. But just as much a fixture of the landscape, the county's numerous industrial facilities. In just 5 months, explosions at a Simrise manufacturing plant in November and a fire at Pine Nova manufacturing plant in April, both forcing evacuations. The Simrise explosions leading to a fish kill, then another fish kill outside Sunbelt Forest Products in December. All this following the capsizing of the Golden Ray cargo ship in the St. Simon Sound in 2019, carrying 4,300 vehicles, which caught fire multiple times and leaked huge quantities of oil and other industrial fluids. These explosions and problems aren't happening far away out of sight. We're in a neighborhood where the latest plant explosion happened in their backyards.
The smell for me was very intense for days.
Anita Collins grew up in Brunswick and is a leader in her neighborhood, which includes government housing across the fence from Pine Nova.
Some residents have had health issues, headaches, burning eyes, breathing.
The Pine Nova plant, which makes wood resin, has operated about 1.5 miles from downtown Brunswick for more than 100 years, formerly under the company Hercules. Hercules produced the pesticide toxaphene until 1980, according to the company. Toxaphene is now classified by the Environmental Protection Agency as a probable human carcinogen.
Think about how many individuals have grown up with that plant being right where it is.
First Coast News questioned Georgia's Environmental Protection Division about the plume of smoke from the Pine Nova fire. They say air readings from 3 locations don't show any emissions that exceed the plant's permitted levels. The county of 85,000 people is also home to 4 federal toxic waste sites. That toxic legacy prompted a study by Emory University, screening residents for the presence of chemicals like mercury and PCBs, which were dumped in the area by local industries for decades.
There seems to be a lack of oversight and a lack of strict enforcement.
Environmental advocates like Maggie Van Cantfort with Altamaha Riverkeeper say companies do not face proportionate repercussions. One example they give, the 2-year cleanup of the Golden Ray cost $1 billion. The ship's owner, Hyundai Glovis, was penalized at $3 million.
The marsh provides extreme environmental services to the world, and that needs to be protected.
These are older plants, they need upgrades. We're asking the EPD to look at that.
Glynn County Commissioner Cap Fendig says the county, city, and companies must work together. At a meeting following the Pine Nova fire, it was revealed that neither the plant nor local firefighters had the materials needed to fight the fire.
What we did in that meeting was put all of our industrial plants on notice. Number one, they're going to have to make arrangements to store foam on site that's appropriate to the type of chemicals that they're messing with.
We were not prepared. The plant wasn't prepared. we weren't prepared.
Pinova's senior director of operations says in a statement the company is committed to finding the cause of the fire and increasing fire safety. According to the EPA, the plant is considered a significant non-complier of regulations governing hazardous waste disposal and has been fined $365,000 over the last 10 years. It was also cited by OSHA in 2021 after employees were exposed to chemicals. But Pinova is just one of Glynn County's many industrial facilities. The fire there, only the most recent problem.
What we're talking about is legacy pollution in this county.
Neighbors like Collins say it's up to local, state, and federal officials, as well as companies, to stop the next disaster before it happens. Renata Di Gregorio, First Coast News, on your side.
I've crossed cities and states. I've crossed countries. I've crossed continents.
From 1619?
Torn from my home, I was dragged across the only ground I've ever known.
Do you hear me? We will fight for us!
To 2020.
All the while, there was something inside of me, something bigger than me, something clinging to me.
This is what democracy looks like!
The story of Black women in America.
We got to change. So we're the change agents.
Still at a crossroads.
We need to have a seat at the table.
Between racism.
It's a wake-up call.
And sexism.
Today we say, no more.
There is no wall too high, no ocean too deep, no mountain that can't be moved for us to get what we came for.
Breonna Taylor, killed by Louisville police, struck a specific chord.
The police is not going to stop doing what they're doing to us.
Statistically, Black women have a lot of ground to make up. In money, making 64 cents to the dollar compared to what a white man makes. In health, 3 to 4 times more likely to die during pregnancy, reports the CDC. In representation, there were 22 Black women in Congress before Election Day, out of 535 members.
My name is Tammy Hodo, PhD.
We want reform!
One of my biggest pet peeves is I hear people say, well, why don't they pull themselves up by their bootstraps? And reality is that some people were born with no boots.
Dr. Tammy Hodo is a diversity consultant. She says the Black Lives Matter movement feels different.
Oh, I think so. Because even if you think of the civil rights of the 60s, the women were engaged, but they were in the background. And you saw the African-American men in the forefront. We're seeing women that are at the forefront. There were 3 women who, initiated that hashtag when Trayvon Martin was killed.
We're done dying, and as mothers, we're done crying.
Hodo says Black women are taking action where it matters.
We need to look at legislation and recognize that when this nation was founded, it was really about white, cisgendered males.
I say if you're mad about what has been happening in the Black community, it's time to take it to Tallahassee.
April Nubian Roberts works with the activist group New Florida Majority, most recently helping pass a law to ensure pregnant inmates get proper medical attention and to restore voting rights to ex-felons. The numbers also show progress in areas Black women can control, reportedly earning more degrees than any other group. Black women-owned businesses are also growing faster than any group.
Our seat at the table involves including us in forums, having us on those boards.
Show me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like!
Where the community roots for the Black Lives Matter movement.
We all led a march in our city.
No justice! No racism!
And Black women's lives are at the root of it.
No justice, no peace. We mean that.
Renata Di Gregorio, First Coast News, on your side.
I've phone.
I was 10 years old when I got my first phone.
I was either 7 or 8. 5. 14 years old.
Then I thought that it was a good age, but now I probably should have waited a couple years.
I interacted with a lot of strangers.
My mom doesn't want me to go through that where I have to feel like, oh, I'm not pretty enough.
If you don't have any form of social media, you get left out of a lot of things.
I get distracted to watch YouTube videos, not pay attention to anything that I need to.
It's so addicting for kids.
Would you guys say that you are addicted to your phones?
Yes, I can't do anything without it.
We're on our way into Wolfson Children's Hospital to ask this question that parents really want to know. How old should your kid be before you give them a smartphone?
Children can actually be more depressed by spending the majority of their time on social media.
Terry Andrews is the Vice President of Behavioral Health at Wolfson Children's Hospital.
The disconnection, we are missing those opportunities for connecting with our peers, connecting with adults, having those crucial conversations, and being able to practice engaging in relationships.
Andrews says, and studies show, the way our brains respond to social media is similar to the way addictions are formed. And kids are especially susceptible. The chief science officer at the American Psychological Association says most teens have at least one symptom of clinical dependency on social media.
When you are scrolling, it's very similar to gambling, where there's intermittent reinforcement. So you get to one and it may not be engaging, and so you flip to another and it may be engaging. That is intermittent reinforcement, as we say, and that's one of the hugest topics for addiction.
Research increasingly shows delaying exposure is the best defense. This means delaying when your child gets a smartphone if possible, and delaying their access to apps.
I would probably say middle school is what the research indicates, maybe even high school. But what you face is everyone has a smartphone. The pressure to be able to give your child a smartphone, those are tough. But with that, having crucial conversations about when to use social media, when to disengage, those are all important topics to be able to cover.
Andrew suggests downloading the social media agreement. It's part of the On Our Sleeves movement with Wolfson Children's Hospital, and you can find this on our web story on firstcoastnews.com. Also, if you go there, you can find more tips to make sure that your child connecting online doesn't mean disconnecting from reality. Renata Di Gregorio, First Coast News, on your side.
This is so beautiful. I had no idea.
Oh my gosh, this is magical to be out here today.
So we drove down all the way from Grand Rapids.
Beneath the surface of Florida's waterways,
they're beautiful.
A crisis.
I'm in love with them.
Manatees dying at a record rate, 1,100 dead in 2021. Double the average. They're starving to death.
There isn't enough food near the warm water source. They're faced with either starving or going further in the cold water to feed, and that's where they get cold stress.
It's been declared an unusual mortality event and means more manatees ending up here at Jacksonville Zoo's Manatee Critical Care Center. Craig Miller says they've treated more in the past year than ever before, and they're full.
So we had animals that they were starving last winter and never really recovered through the warmer months.
As the manatees huddle for warmth in the winter, crowds huddle to see them, taking for granted the sight of clear waters, unaware of the manatees' murky future.
We are at a critical moment.
We're at Blue Springs State Park, and right now there are a record number of manatees here just within reach of us.
It's a glimmer of hope, but experts tell us moments like these are fleeting. Their habitats and their food sources are being destroyed.
If we do not turn around the health of these waterways that will foster regrowth of these important grasses, we are going to lose our manatee population.
The St. John's Riverkeeper, Lisa Reineman, says seagrass is a manatee's main food source, and what's killing it is us. Pollution from fertilizers and septic tanks feed the growth of toxic algae, which then blocks the sunlight, preventing the seagrass from growing. The algae is blamed for more than half of Florida's manatee deaths last year.
Right now, the rules don't protect the river, and it's all about disposal instead of a long-term solution.
Further north on the St. Johns in October, the St. Johns Riverkeeper found the level of algae bloom toxins 300 times higher than the safe level for swimming.
Further south, in the Indian River Lagoon, the Water Management District says nearly 50,000 acres of seagrass vanished.
We need to do everything we can to help restore the food sources in the Indian River Lagoon and help relieve that population, but also prevent a crisis here in the St. Johns River.
Manatee advocates are now suing the Environmental Protection Agency, claiming when it comes to water quality standards, they're doing the exact opposite of their name. In December, an unprecedented program to save the manatees began by feeding them directly. Feeding manatees is illegal under state and federal law, but these teams have permission, distributing hundreds of pounds of romaine lettuce near this Cape Canaveral power plant.
State wildlife officials say the manatees are eating, but it may not be enough.
Despite the rescue efforts, more than 260 manatees have died through the second week of February.
We can all do our part, but we also have to hold our government to their part to make sure there's sustainable long-term policies and that we prevent pollution and maintain water in our systems.
When you dive deeper, it becomes crystal clear.
It's not just about manatees, it's about the entire ecosystem. And if we're saving the ecosystem, we're really saving ourselves.
In Blue Springs State Park
and Jacksonville Zoo,
Renata Di Gregorio
and Leah Shields. First Coast News on your side.
The impact the arts have on our lives becomes apparent when you're stuck at home. Leave it to the artist to create something meaningful, bigger than a pandemic.
We got enough hand sanitizer and toilet paper to last a couple of years.
We can be fearful. I want people to have a little bit of hope.
I will bring the art show to you.
Can't really trust the system at all. Might be a plot just to see us fall. Where we are gonna do?
They're all portraits. Like a lot of people, I've been missing people.
Miss my friends, family in Japan. That kind of feeling, emotion is reflecting to this drawing.
As artists, we get to communicate things to the world, to provide comfort, to spread awareness, something for the world to hold on to.
Really great song came on, and my daughter said, dance break, and 3 of us got up. It wasn't pretty, but we all danced, and the next day I came out and I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do today.
One better way to send a message was to kind of put the mask over the art that I was doing. We're going to have to put a mask on the brother.
Working on my art, I don't feel any fear.
Just going through life, not really thinking about the intimacy we have and connecting with people, and I'm trying to bridge that gap.
She ain't coming over.
We don't have as much close or social interaction, but on multimedia we can listen to music and to the arts.
Blues.
Stay safe, okay?
Renata Di Gregorio, First Coast News on your side.
Today, a judge sentenced McDowell to death. Our Renata Di Gregorio is joining us now with an exclusive interview.
We could also see a large fire truck ladder go up even higher. It appeared to snuff out the flames that we could see from right here. Countdown is at 7 p.m., but the festivities start now. We already have the shrimp over here, Little Shrimpy himself. In the last 2 minutes, we wrapped up speaking with the federal prosecutor who says that he believes this sentence is fair. Walking around this neighborhood, you hear the chainsaws, you hear the leaf blowers, you walk into a convenience store, and that video of that car getting flipped is what people are talking about. We just learned this about 10 minutes ago or so. There's a lot going on back here. We can hear the helicopter, just what all is going into this search for the little boy. And then when they finally got here, they found out their bags were not in this sea of luggage. Neighbors say that they watched the FBI break down Holmes's door. The new Riverside Skate Park is officially open. We're in a neighborhood where the latest plant explosion happened in their backyards. 4 people are dead in what the Jacksonville sheriff is calling a racially motivated shooting. He says that the shooter wanted to kill Black people. The shooter is one of those dead. It happened right down here at the Dollar General. We're on the west side of Jacksonville in a majority Black neighborhood, just a few blocks from a historically Black university. The sheriff says that a white man in his 20s walked into a Dollar General in tactical gear with an assault rifle and a handgun and shot 2 men and 1 woman, all Black people. He says they don't know if the targets were specific people, but the sheriff says that any Black person was in danger. The mayor tells us his gun had a swastika on it. The shooter, who they have not officially identified, wrote 3 manifestos for his parents, the media, and law enforcement, according to the sheriff. He says the shooter lived in neighboring Clay County with his parents and texted his father just after 1 p.m. to check his computer. His parents called the police, but it was too late. Dozens of people from the neighborhood have been out here at the scene all day, and they are angry. There have been multiple prayer circles, and people say that they will support each other during this time. Here in Jacksonville, this is also the 5-year anniversary of a shooting that killed 2 people and injured 11 in downtown at a video game tournament. Back to you. Some people say they spent 4 days just trying to get home, and then when they finally got here, they found out their bags were not in this sea of luggage here at Jacksonville International Airport. And this is after spending days sleeping in various airports, just trying to get back home.
It's not it.
It's not here.
The last several days have been a mess for airline passengers in Jacksonville.
This has been a mess. It's been a nightmare.
It got delayed 4 times.
Canceled at 3 in the morning.
8-hour layover. 8-hour layover.
So I was supposed to be home around 10 a.m. yesterday.
This is my 4th day of travel.
Delta Airlines passenger Kelly Roberts went through all this.
Well, actually I didn't sleep at the airport. I stood in lines all night long.
Just to find her luggage isn't here.
I don't know where it is.
Michaela Phillips, too. Steve and Dawn Lazar were supposed to get back home days ago. 18 hours in an airport?
Which airport was that?
Now,
Like an Easter egg hunt.
There's a lot of bags everywhere, and I don't know which one will be mine.
Oh my goodness.
it's not just Delta passengers going through this.
Yeah, my credit card took a little bit of a hit because, you know, a soda is $4.89.
Delta Airlines says customers can submit a claim for lost baggage and request reimbursement for hotel, meal, and ground transportation expenses. U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg says hundreds of complaints have been filed with the Department of Transportation.
It's a big oversight, what happened.
Oh, you got it? Good. This is this is relief.
I've been reunified.
Yay!
Victory is mine.
Taking any victory, even those without their bags, are just glad to be home.
And I'm going home.
It was an adventure, to say the least.
An airport spokesperson says from Friday to this morning, there were more than 80 cancellations total. He encourages you to check your flight status before you head to the airport and says it's up to the airlines to deal with all of these bags. Live at JIA, Renata Di Gregorio, First Coast News, on your side.